Titans fans, we're going to talk trade here momentarily with the NFL trade deadline just around the corner. But if you want free videos on the Titans, I'm really not sure what you're waiting for. We're not quite to 1,000 subscribers on our Titans channel, but we're just barely 40 away. So let's get this changed already, or else, I don't know, maybe I'll just stop doing Titans videos altogether. Hit that big red button right now. It is trade talk time here on Titans Today. That is almost a tongue twister. I got some players who have been linked in various trade rumors and or ideas for Tennessee. We begin with maybe the biggest name on this list. Xavien Howard. ESPN and others out there have suggested, maybe Tennessee could go out and acquire the big name corner who was the subject of so many trade rumors earlier this season. Howard wanted a trade in the offseason, but when he got the adjusted deal with more guarantee money that he asked for, well, now he's a happier camper. Now, he would be expensive still for Tennessee if he were to be acquired. Note here on that third bullet point that you see, the total cap hit is what the new team would owe him, but it's based on the entirety of the 2021 season. So it's really a take that figure, divide by 17, multiply by how many games are left. A lot of hard math there. We'll make it easier. We'll call it roughly half. Let's say 6.5 million plus the rest of his contract moving forward, but 6.5 for this year. The Titans could make that work if they needed to. Now, this was ESPN's trade idea for Xavien Howard. Tennessee gets Howard and a second-round pick. The Dolphins get a first-round pick this year and a future second. Now, in general, future picks are valued as 1 round less, and that second-round pick could be fairly early for Tennessee, but make no mistake, the Dolphins are getting back first-round value for Xavien Howard in a potential trade with Tennessee. Now, Howard is not having as good of a year as he was last season, although I think some of that is due to the bad supporting cast overall in Miami. That defense has gone from top 5 to bottom 5. The bottom has truly fallen out in Miami. But he's a playmaker. 2 interceptions, 9 pass breakups, and you know what? He's better than Chris Jackson. Now, there are some long-term question marks. How do you make it all fit with Molden, Fulton, Farley, and maybe Jenkins as well? I would have more interest in a short-term player if I were Tennessee, because I hope that Farley is going to be a long-term piece for you. I am pretty sure Fulton will be. I think Farley will come back healthy. I hope, fingers crossed. Jenkins is there for now, and I like Molden long-term as well. So would you trade for Xavien Howard? Y for yes, you would. N for no, you would not. Let me know what you're thinking in the comment section. This question is the pinned comment on today's video, so head down to the comment section. It's the first one you'll see. Type your responses right there. Another corner, this one I almost have more interest in for Tennessee. Not because he's as good of a player, Kyle Fuller isn't, but because of the fit, potentially. Fuller's been benched by Denver. Now, that's because they've got Ronald Darby and Patrick Surtain, but that also makes him a logical trade chip. The Broncos are bad, and Fuller is a backup. This is the exact type of player Denver should be selling. Otherwise, I don't really get it. You're a bad team. Get some draft capital back long term. His cap hit, again, we'll make it the pro-rated, that's the term for it, I'm out there, around $5 million in the end. Now, the trade idea that had been floated out by fans said it was Denver gets a 4th-round pick. So that's the value that I think is maybe a bit on the higher end. Fuller for a 4th. And the reason I think it's a bit high, and if you could get him for a 5th, I would do it. But for a 4th, Fuller's not playing that well. And I want to say, it's the scheme. Well, no, it's the Vic Fangio defense that he was a part of in Chicago. So that doesn't really match for me, but he's a shorter-term player. He helps you fill the gap as Christian Fulton until he comes back, until Caleb Farley comes back next year. So that, if it's for less than a 4th, I think starts to make some sense for Tennessee. I want you guys now to name a player who you want to trade for. Any player, just one, hopefully simple request. Keep it realistic. You're not getting Aaron Donald or Mahomes, so keep it at least plausible, I beg of you. Let's go to Evan Engram now. This one's been put out there a couple different places, including Pro Football Focus. Now, the Titans don't have a great tight end option. Anthony Firkser has not emerged, and shoot, Jeff Swaim is playing over him. Again, the money side of it, we'll call it $3 million for the pro-rated amount for the rest of the season for the former first-round pick, who was a Pro Bowler for literally zero reason last year, had no business being a Pro Bowler. He was actually terrible, but the voters don't pay attention, unlike I do. Now, this was PFF's trade proposal. Engram and a sixth for a future fourth and a future sixth. Now, again, future picks generally rated as one round lower, so it's a fifth and a seventh for a sixth is how that would be judged. It's not terrible. I kind of don't like giving up a fourth. I would almost rather move a fifth straight up for Engram. That would make me feel a little bit better, but you're making moves. You're getting trade value around, multiple picks, so I get it. It is a bit on the higher end, I think, for Evan Engram, although we saw Zach Ertz and Chris Herndon go for a lot more than what they were worth, although Herndon, they ate some money. The Jets did get a better draft pick there. Engram has not been that productive this year, but the upside it still exists, right? The athletic ability is there. Now, the Titans have used Jeff Swaim a lot as a blocking tight end. I get that. I know there have been some hope and some hype and some buzz for Anthony Firkser. That has not materialized at this point. Hey, at least Michael Pruitt caught a touchdown pass last week. So, Engram has not lived up to expectations, but for a team that's all in right now, like Tennessee, maybe it could make some sense as a high-risk, higher-reward option. So, will the Titans make a trade, period? Type 1 for yes, they will, or type in 0 for no, they will not. Get your predictions in for me in the comments section. One more name, and I wanted to include another defense, because I think that's what the Titans need the most of right now, because A.J. Brown and Julio are fine. It's Marlon Davidson. Now, he's a backup in a new scheme, and we'll come back to that in a minute. Former second-rounder, though, and is very affordable. Cheap cap hit, under $1 million this year, has 3 years left, including this year, left on his deal. Former second rounder, you could buy him on the cheap. That all starts to make some sense, and I get it. Here's the twofold problem. One, so far, Davidson has not lived up to expectations. That scheme change for Atlanta, by the way, folks. It's not that different of a scheme from what the Titans have run. It's Dean Pease, right? Now, I do think if Davidson came on, you would be able to make him work, and I don't hate this idea from fan-sided. I don't love Tahir Tart, and maybe you could have Jeffrey Simmons play more nose tackle, which I don't think maximizes him, but he's such a great football player. How can you complain no matter what he's doing? But it gives you better depth than Amani Bledsoe and Naquan Jones. So it's not my favorite idea, but it is definitely a more affordable one than, say, Akeem Hicks, who would definitely be a good fit. I would even look at maybe just a true nose guard if I could find one if I were Tennessee. Remember, folks, let's get to 1,000 subscribers, or I might just stop doing videos altogether. So if you haven't already, subscribe right now.